Hey guys, it's Animelover. I'm back with another video. So this video is going to be a little bit different, and I'm going to be doing a fun little podcast-ish kind of thing. It's not really a podcast, but I'm calling it a podcast because that's what I deem it to be. But it's basically just me reviewing shows or movies, and I'm basically creating a brand new series. Yay! So, fun thing, if you have been following me on Instagram, I have been reviewing like shows or films for a few years now, and I have a highlight for them on my Instagram. And basically I was like one day like, I keep doing these. I should make a series on them for YouTube of me just talking about them. And it took me a while to finally get to it, and I'm finally building myself up to it. I'm finally doing it. I'm finally recording the first episode of this, and I've already had a few headaches just getting into it. It's been extremely loud. It's like, what time is it? It's like 1:30 at night, and I'm hearing revving of cars and cars racing, and so it's just been getting in the audio. Or I was in my living room and the audio was terrible, so hopefully this audio is so much better. This is my normal setup, and all that in our hobby room, so hopefully this is better. I have been struggling trying to just get this video recorded, so I apologize if I sound winded or if I sound just right now. It's just I'm trying to build myself up to finally start talking about this. Two things that I want to say before we get into the whole reviewing process, since this is a new series. I want to basically state very much from the beginning, is that one, do not harass me or people in the comments for having different opinions on a film or show. I will have obviously a different opinion from someone else, so do not harass someone for not having the same opinion as me, or do not harass others for not having the same opinion as you on something, because everyone is different and everyone basically has different thoughts on how they present, like they presume a media kind of thing. So do not basically harass people and do not harass me. I will delete any comments that are basically harassing or bullying or being basically not respectful towards each other. I do not tolerate that crap. I'm saying that here and now. Don't do it. Thing number 2, you may suggest films or shows to me, but do not expect me to actually watch it unless I am thoroughly interested in watching it. I want to say that here and now, that I may not get to whatever someone suggests to me, because I do not do these reviews for people, kind of like people's suggestions. I do this because I wanted to watch a show or movie, and I was very much invested to make a review for it and then make a video for it. So do not expect me to at all take anyone's suggestions and do it. Yes, there will probably be a time where I will see a suggestion of a film and I'll go, I want to watch that. And so then I'll watch it, and then it gets into a video. But sometimes there may not be that case, so please be respectful towards me if I do not take your suggestions. I already have to do 100 and something of these, so I'm trying to get through the list that I have as like right now. So please be respectful towards me and all that. So thank you going forward. Now that we got that out of the way, let's get into the review of A Centaur's Life. So I actually watched this originally 6 years ago. I just looked at this on my story. I reviewed this originally in 2020. Surprisingly, I was like, oh, I didn't know it had been 6 years. So I did rewatch it actually a while ago, back when I was originally going to start this series. So I had rewatched it again. But I never did anything with it. I kind of just wrote down a brief script. If y'all know me, I suck at scripts. I have it next to me for pointers and stuff for me to read off of. But other than that, I am just winging it and rambling most of the time. So apologies if you do not like rambling. That's just a thing about me. I ramble a lot. But basically, I watched this 6 years ago. And the reason why I even decided to watch it and even start to review it, one, was that I was like, I'm going to watch an anime and I'm going to watch it without Fangirl. And this probably had been the first time I had watched an anime by myself for a really long time. I can't remember an anime that I watched by myself in general, so I don't even know. But I decided, let me watch this anime because I thought it was cool. I thought it was like kind of interesting. And so then I watched it, which is how we have the series now. And this was the very first one, A Centaur's Life. And I thought it'd be really cool to have this be the very first episode of this series. So, basically, it is a slice of life type of anime, and it's about mythical creatures, which I thought was such a fascinating concept. I was like, okay, I'm not really big on slice of life type of animes, because during this time, I had not watched, if anything, I barely watched anything to do with like slice of life. And I was like, okay, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to see how it is. I'm going to see if I like it. And I decently liked it, actually. So I was quite surprised, mostly for my first kind of slice of life kind of anime, which I'm pretty sure it's not my first slice of life, but it's definitely the more notable one that like got me kind of more into more chill and slice of life type animes, because it was the first one that I can like remember. So this anime does take place in modern time, which is a very interesting concept to also do with anything with mythical creatures, and I thought that was very interesting. So we basically follow the main characters, and I can only remember one, I apologize on this, Hime, which is the centaur of the group, and then we have the other two. I do not remember their name, and I heavily apologize. I suck at remembering names, and that will be a common trend throughout this series, where I will forget a character's name, whether they are the most important character ever, I will forget their name, and I apologize heavily for it, but I will put both of them on screen so that you all can basically see who they are and who I'm referring to. I will call them, demon friend and then goat friend. That is how I'm going to refer to them, because I cannot remember their names. I am so sorry. So basically we follow the main three, and they are in high school, and it is a very, very interesting kind of like relationship with the friends, because two of them are much more smaller and like I would say more human like than Hime, because Hime is obviously a centaur, so her world is a lot different than her friends, and it's very interesting of how they show that throughout the anime. Like, there's been multiple times where they have shown how different they have to accommodate for Hime, where they either have to, say, make outfits very differently than how they would make a normal outfit for her, because she's either too big, or they have to accommodate to her other half and all that. And I think that's very interesting. Another thing is like houses and like cars all have to accommodate to her. And it's very interesting to see how the world has shaped and how it has been built off of accommodating to other species, specifically notably centaurs. Another one is the merfolk, and that is very interesting to see how they have also accommodated to them. And I did notice they don't really accommodate to them that much. There was a scene like in an episode where they were trying to like show that like, oh, we're making like this like easy to walk kind of thing for merfolk and all that, but then they were like pricing it extremely high like in money to even get it, because I think it was like a new like test thing. But there's like very little accommodation, I think, for merfolk. Then there is centaurs, which I think kind of sucks. I feel like they could have maybe like shown that more in the anime a little bit, but I did like what they were showing, and showing that there are struggles even with the nowadays kind of like things they've like put in precautions to not have it be discriminatory, but it does show that they are more favoring one group probably more than the other, even though they're trying to say they're not. Something that I did also really kind of like was how much they did not sugarcoat the history, and basically specifically the dark history of how their world kind of was and what has happened for them to get to the point of having it where there is equality among the creatures. And a good example of this is, I think he's the president or the mayor. I'm pretty sure he's the president. But basically he is an angel, and he basically, when he was younger, he was in something that was very similar to World War II. And basically, if you know anything about World War II, he was in something like the Holocaust. And it was extremely dark and extremely, like, eye-opening to show, like, how bad, like, each other, like, species hated each other, and how, like, divided everything was. And it really put into perspective of, like, how bad it had been and stuff like that, and why they've been pushing for equality among the creatures. And I don't know, even though it was very dark, because there is a scene that is extremely dark of a centaur guy who was unalived in the episode, and it definitely was very, like, whoa kind of moment. But it definitely put into perspective of how, like, dark their history can be and how far it goes. And I very much appreciated them showing that, even though it is not a fun thing to obviously see in media. It is definitely sometimes very much needed. With all the history that we had been given and about, like, all the creatures and stuff, I kind of wish we kind of got a little bit more on, like, their history and stuff like that, because, like, it was so fascinating and so, like, intriguing to learn about how their world has been shaped and how it has been built. And I'm just like, I want to know more. I want to know more of, like, the history and lore about, like, their world, and we barely got anything on it. And this is me more saying this as someone who has not read the manga, so maybe it was addressed in the manga and I don't know about it. I'm only watching the anime kind of thing, so maybe if there is, let me know down in the comments kind of thing. But like I said, I very much, like, wish we got more on certain things, like the what are they called, the Antarcticans. They, like, I think we got, like, a little bit on them, but not, like, a whole, like, bunch. And there was definitely, like, a lot of other scenes where I wish we got, like, a lot more, like, information or, like, stuff, because, like, I wanted to learn more about the merfolk or, like, other, like, characters, like, species. And just, that was, like, my biggest thing that I took away from, like, all the history that we got, was I kind of just wanted more. I was so invested in what they were, like, showing, that I just wanted more of it. So, going into this anime, what I did expect was fan service. And surprisingly, not actually as much as you would think was actually in this anime. Yes, there were scenes, obviously, where there were fan service. There was this one character, and she heavily, like, was being weird and, like, weirdly, like, touchy with, like, the other girls. And it was kind of weird at times. I definitely was like, whoa, that is really touchy. That is harassment right now. Was something I did notice, obviously. But other than that, when there was, like, fan service, quote unquote fan service, it felt more just like artistic nudity more than anything. Like, it just felt normal. Like, it's supposed to be there, and it's not really made for fan service. It's just normalizing the human figure in a way. And obviously I didn't find anything wrong with that. But that's just me. There were obviously scenes where it was weird, which was with the one chick, but other than that, I didn't really, like, feel like it was like that. There was one episode where because later we get a character, and she's an Antarctican, and she basically is on a date with a guy, and they were walking past a love hotel, and they had people watching them, because they're, like, international, like, people making sure, like, nothing happens to her, or if, like, stuff like that, because she was what's it called, she was, like, a transfer student. And it was a very weird scene, because it's just like, I don't think they would have done it anyways, but it was very weird to see them all, like, freaking out if they were going to do it. So that was definitely a very weird, like, scene in general. It's not fan service kind of say it's not, but it's kind of weird nonetheless that it was kind of added as an implication that these kids were going to do it. And I thought it was funny, but it's also kind of weird at the same time. So I don't know 100% on that one. I just know it was like, oh, okay, that's kind of weird, but whatever. So like I said, not a lot of fan service, surprisingly, though. I was quite surprised. I had gone from watching a bunch of animes like before this that had a ton of fan service. So I was coming in already thinking there was going to be a lot of fan service, as it's anime. Anime has fan service, so I was already expecting like fan service. Mostly with how the style kind of was, I was like, there's going to be like a ton of fan service. And here, be ready. And then there really wasn't. So I was like, oh, okay. Surprising. Another thing that really surprised me was how much actually like LGBTQ plus stuff there was in this anime. Like there was a lot of characters, like the demon friend, where she shows that she very much likes Hime and like kind of wants to get with her, because in the very first episode they were rehearsing a play and they ended up kissing because Hime thought that that's, it was okay to do, and because it was on the script. And I thought that was super cute, one. But I thought it was very interesting that the friend, the demon friend, she very much got very flustered and got very much like, kind of like she liked the kiss, but also was like, not sure if she did, but like, she very much showed that she liked it. And then there was another episode where, Hime was like, so like, what's it called? She very much was like, thinking, there was like, I think they were like friends, and the guy was holding his friend, and she was a merfolk, and he was carrying her kind of like a princess, and Hime had basically said that was super adorable and cute, and how that she it was implying that she wished someone could pick her up, kind of like that. And the demon friend basically had like kind of like flexed their arm, like they wanted to get strong enough to be able to pick up Hime in that way, and I thought that was really cute. There also is an open lesbian couple actually in this show, which I was very surprised about when I first watched this, because it's not very common with an anime to like see open like relationships between like same-sex kind of like characters. So I was very much like, whoa, that's kind of cool kind of thing. And they like openly say like girlfriends and stuff like that. So I was like, sweet. So with the main three, I actually was quite surprised that I actually liked all three of them, which normally is not the case for me. Like, and it's not because I don't like girls and like media and stuff like that, because I am one, but it's actually because they're very poorly written half the time, to where they're either boring, bland, jealous of their friends, or just a straight up jerk. So I was actually more surprised that these three did not follow like under any of that kind of stuff, and I thought that was very interesting. So I was like, that's kind of like cool that I like really like the characters, because they felt real, like how a real friendship kind of like would be and stuff like that. And I was like, dang, I really like all three of them. They're very well like written. I really like all their personalities, and just overall I very much liked them, and I enjoyed every scene that they were actually on screen. I unfortunately did not like their their class president very much. She like is obviously the stereotypical like very cold and bossy kind of character, but also trying to be like not at the same time, and that kind of was just most of her personality. It could have been just because I wasn't fully like understanding why she didn't like her dad, which is why I don't like her that much. But at the same time, like, I don't know, I just wasn't a huge fan of her. I liked the main three along with the Antarctican friend that they end up getting later in the anime. Overall, this anime was a very cute kind of like anime for like my first time kind of watching anime by myself. And I still, even after like rewatching it now, I still think it's very charming and adorable. and I definitely would rewatch it again, kind of thing. Like, I genuinely did enjoy, like, exploring the world and stuff like that, and it was just very interesting. So, when I originally reviewed this anime, I actually gave it a 6 out of 10, but a lot of my Instagram, like, early Instagram reviews are very much outdated, as those were 6 years ago, and with me rewatching them, my, like, opinions on things have changed over the years. I am also going off of, is this kind of like rewatchable? Can I rewatch it? Will I enjoy rewatching it, kind of thing? And that is definitely going to play a factor in its like number and stuff like that. So originally it was 6 out of 10, but now I am giving it a 7 out of 10, as I did enjoy like rewatching it when I like first rewatched it, and then when I was rewatching it again, I very much enjoyed it, as I was laughing, I was smiling, and just overall just enjoyed the experience of the anime. Obviously, there are some warnings while watching this, is that there is a very up close unalived scene of a character being hung. So if that does trigger you, then I would very much like skip that like part of the episode, because it is very much a shock kind of whoa kind of moment, because I was not ready for it when I first saw it 6 years ago. And I do not want someone who will get triggered by that to like not be prepared for that kind of like scene kind of thing. So there isn't really like much for me to talk about kind of after this, since it is kind of just a slice of life kind of anime, and slice of life animes are very chill most times. And like each episode was basically had 2 parts in it, where like a few minutes, like how long, I think it was like at least like 12 minutes maybe, would be about like, say like them rehearsing a play, and then the other 12 minutes is them basically doing sports and stuff like that. And that's mostly how the episodes were. It just depended on the episode. Each one was always different and stuff like that, and it just, like I said, depended on what the episode was doing. And honestly, I thought it was kind of cool. I like shows when they do that, because I'm like, yay, more content for an episode. Because how long can you stretch them rehearsing a play for? Honestly, so I'm just glad that they didn't like go into full kind of like, let's rehearse a play, and then it's a whole episode like that. So I was very glad they did not do that for 12 episodes. But basically, I am hoping for future videos of this series to be a little bit better in how I've done this, because I had rewatched this and then tried rewatching it again, and I just wasn't there to rewatch it the second time, which was this time. I'm very much lacking in certain info and stuff like that, and I'm not being as in-depth as I can't talk, in-depth as I should be in these, but in future ones, I will be very much in-depth more with it, and, like, it very much will be very I can't speak, oh no, very much I will have spoils in those videos. Obviously, this one has spoils as well, but the other ones will very much be very spoil kind of based, because I will be going into, like, full depth on, like, things and stuff like that. That is the hope for future videos, of this series. I know this one was very much all over the place, and very much I did not know what I was doing, and that's because this is my first one for it, and I'm still trying to figure it out myself, as the original idea of this was actually for me to draw the characters and talk about them, but that's what kept pushing me to not do it, and so then I was like, okay, we're just gonna throw a picture of me, on the screen, and you all just get to watch a blank screen and just have this in the background. But if you guys did enjoy this and you want to see more of my film reviewing kind of series, let me know, because I want to do more and kind of stuff. Like, I very much have been wanting to do this for a while, and I'm just very proud of myself and happy with myself for finally talking about at least this anime, finally, and stuff like that. So if you guys did enjoy, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye! This is future me after recording everything. I also wanted to throw in, I didn't mention this, after talking to Fangirl, I realized I should probably add this, as this seems very relevant. So there it was very weird, like, after talking with Fangirl about it. It was really weird that they made the only lesbian, like, openly lesbian character, like, how do I word this properly? Handsy with another character, and it just felt very weird, that, like, she did that, and I think that was kind of weird in general that she, I think, was, like, the only character who really did that throughout the anime, and it was just really weird, and, like, I don't know, after talking with her, it felt kind of icky. We both could just be overthinking this, but I just thought it was kind of weird that the only openly lesbian character got treated as the kind of pervert of the show, and it was kind of weird. I also want to mention that she did, like, get very handsy with a person, and it was very weird. I believe that was the only scene she did that with, but there were multiple other moments also throughout the show that I forgot to mention while I was doing the original recording, like, where people were, like, being really weird and handsy, specifically with, like, the demon, like, friend and all that. Like, the mermaids were very, like, touchy, because they didn't believe that she was a girl because she was so flat-chested, and it was just really weird, and I didn't mention that. Another episode also was that there was, a mermaid chick, and she was, like, doing some, like, I guess she has a really good voice, and she basically, like, is supposed to do, like, some singing thing, and, like, this old guy comments about her, like, body, and it was really weird, and she even commented on it saying, like, how he was gross for even saying anything, and I agree, it was very weird, and it was just, I don't know, it was just something I wish I talked about, and then I didn't really think about it until after talking with, Fangirl about it, and I was like, ugh, and it just kept bugging me that I didn't mention it, and so I'm like, fine, I'm gonna come back, and I'm gonna add that, to the video. It was weird in general, and I was, like, yes, there was representation for LGBTQ plus stuff, but it was just weird that it was only women, and, like, it was only lesbian couples. There was no other, like, thing with, like, say, like, a gay couple, or, like, stuff like that, or a bi couple, or, like, stuff like that kind of thing. But it was only lesbian, and it just, to an extent, it could come off as fetishy, and Fangirl had pointed that out, and I was like, oh, damn, I didn't even think about that. Crud. And honestly, with some scenes, it definitely makes a lot more sense, like, thinking on that, of it being weird, and I just wanted to throw that in so you all were aware, and that, like, I am aware, and I wish I remembered that throughout recording, which is why I'm putting it in. So, yeah. I also didn't mention it of why I didn't fully like the class president, and it was because of how her relationship was with her dad. And again, I have not rewatched that episode precisely, but from what I can remember, it was because her dad, he paints, but he paints for a hobby, and I think it got mad at him, or is mad at him for not selling his work. And I think that's very weird that she's getting very angry at him for doing that, when it's not her choice to decide if he wants to make his art a profession or not. Like, yes, he has talent, and yes, he, like, is very skilled in what he does, but at the same time, if he doesn't want to pursue it any further than just a hobby, I think that she should kind of just drop it. And I think that was kind of weird. Like I said, I cannot remember for the life of me. If you guys know, I'll probably watch it after I, like, record this kind of thing, but maybe I won't. But in other words, let me know down in the comments about, like, trying to get the understanding of that kind of, like, concept in their relationship, because it seems very strained, and it was just very weird, and I wanted to bring that up because that was something that very much, like, when I was explaining it to Fangirl, it very much ticked her off, because she's like, wait, what? Like, what do you mean this one chick doesn't understand that her dad doesn't want to make his art, into, like, he doesn't want to, like, sell it? Like, huh? it was just a weird thing in general, just altogether, and I wanted to bring that up also in this because I was like, yes, I should probably talk about that as well.